And welcome everyone back to another Sunday podcast for Macro Crypto. If you do enjoy today's content, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, head over to our Twitter page at Macro Crypto Club and give us a follow. Like always, link will be down in the description. Do want to talk about hitting that bell notification too. So if you do want specific content, if you are a Polkadot or a Kusama Maxi and you only want the content that's related to Polkadot, you can subscribe to that playlist. That way, that type of content's always being sent over to you, or you're being notified that we're dropping new content on Polkadot and vice versa on other content that we'll be dropping. So just want to kind of hit on that. If you do want to hit that bell notification, so you're only getting the content that you want, but we recommend listening to all of it. Why not? But here we are today on the Sunday podcast, joined by my brother Ryan, myself, Shane. Let's go ahead, dive into today's content. What do you got for us first?
Man, so obviously we've been experiencing this big market dip, and
dips.
It's on everybody's
I'm
minds.
over here cussing already, but sorry.
Of like, there's no way to avoid talking about that. I feel like it's on the front of everybody's minds. Anybody who has any money in crypto, if you're watching the markets, you're seeing what's happening, what's going through people, panic, FUD, right? It's all over the internet. I was on crypto Twitter last night. It's FUD all over the place.
The fear, uncertainty, and doubt, if you're not aware of what FUD is, but it is the worst form of, what's the word I'm looking for? Just, I guess FUD is the best way to put it.
Exactly.
When it comes down to, because gives you chills to the bones, especially when you're so deep and all in on crypto.
Right.
And this is my portfolio. This is my investment portal. That's it. But of course, we have a macro view. So long term, we're fine. But at the same time, it does hurt the heart a little bit. Absolutely. Seeing how much this is dipping, and it's just like, can we get out of this? How can we make it, everybody? But keep in mind, hey, long term goals here. We're all here to get ourselves a little financial freedom, long term wealth. So we'll be okay at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and talk about this terrible dip that we're having.
Yeah. So first, I think a good thing to talk about is maybe one of the reasons why it's happening, and also one of the it's completely right correlated with that is something that we're going through, we're learning from about not putting ourselves in a risky position, and that is leverage. So some of these huge dips are partially because of leverage, right? These cascading liquidations. And for anybody who doesn't know what a liquidation is, like people put their asset up as collateral and they're able to get a leveraged position against their own collateral. So let's say you have 10 ETH or 10 Bitcoin, you put that up as collateral, and then you're able to say, all right, I'm going to buy like a 10x position or 5x position, 2x, whatever you want to do. The higher X you go, the riskier it is. Then if, Bitcoin or Ether or whatever it is gets down to a certain price, your liquidation price, you can get liquidated, which means you lose most, if not all, of that asset.
Which, and mind you, like also there's I am starting to believe a little bit more that the volatility of the crypto space might not go away. And that because of this. I'm not saying that this is my firm belief moving forward, but I am speculating that there is a chance that the crypto market, we might always see volatility because of that cascading liquidation. Where in the real markets, guess what happens? Money gets printed, people get saved.
Yep.
You don't see this, especially with the big liquidations. And we saw that with the housing market. Yeah, we had a crash, but everything came back because of how much money, and no one really got affected from it.
Still been up and to the right.
If you do that with ETH and Bitcoin, no one's here to save you.
Right.
You're only there to save yourself. So I think it's a true benefit to the market in the long run, because it will also teach people stop playing around with your money this way, especially the whales, if that happens in that case. But a lot of times right now it's happening to newcomers that don't understand liquidation or just playing such a risky game. Maybe they do understand, but they're just playing too risky for their own good. Like they're almost it's gambling in a sense.
Yeah.
You're betting on a position that you don't know where this market's going to trend day to day. Do we know where this market's going to trend macro wise? Yeah.
Right.
But do we know where it's going to trend on a day to day basis or a week to week basis?
Or month to month? Yeah.
No. So to me, I continuously start to believe more and more that this volatility because of this is a good thing for the health of the crypto community for the long run, but it's going to keep that volatility. Just because more adoption comes, we might not get it as extreme on the volatility, but I do think that the volatility will not go away anytime soon, even within the next 5-10 years, because of how much people love to gamble on their bets, basically.
100%. And I've seen a chart that even shows global interest in the cryptocurrency space. And this chart is the most bullish chart I've ever seen. It's just up and to the right, Yeah. And so I don't know if you've seen that one, Crown Crypto. He talks about it. A great TA guy, Crown's Crypto. I think it's spelled with a K. But it just shows this chart, and it's on his trading app that he has, and it's literally just up and to the right. And of course there's corrections, but it's even more bullish looking than the Bitcoin chart or than any other chart you've seen. It's pretty steady. But back to that point I was making with those liquidations, if we have somebody who, let's say Ethereum was over $3,000, someone's liquidation price is $2,900, and then they get liquidated, and it's a big position. A bunch of people get liquidated. That's going to cause sell pressure, which drops the price. Then there's people panicking, they're selling. That might trigger the next liquidation of people at 2,820, and then boom, another big sell-off, more panic, more triggers that cascading liquidation, where now the price drops down to 2,200 overnight.
And with that also being said, I would love to see the reverse side of that and we might get that with how much fear is in the market. That's where, I have a little bit of hopium into this market is based off of the fear itself and people starting to short Bitcoin and Ether to a point where guess who's going to get liquidated then? It's the bears. And we're going to have a skyrocketing of a price that's going to liquidate them and have a cascading effect into an upward trend.
Yep.
So it goes both ways in the sense of like, hey, when everything's going good, I'm betting on the long term, and then you just get crushed. Yeah. The same thing can happen to the bears or people that are trying to then short a position saying, oh, this is, Bitcoin's going under 30 or Ether's going under 2,000. I'm going to short this. Right. And then it does exactly the opposite of what everyone's thinking.
Absolutely.
The crypto market is such a unpredictable space.
Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Nobody. Everyone can have guesses. We have guesses. We're all playing this game. And you can take your best guess by looking at charts, but at the end of the day, nobody knows.
Yeah. And like you said before, we have really strong conviction that over the long term, the years, 5 years, 10 years longer, this space is only going to grow and going to continue to thrive in the world. But short term, we don't know. And, I think that's a great thing to do in moments like this is just zoom out. Let's look at the all-time chart for Bitcoin, all-time chart for Ethereum, and some of these other really, top tier projects. And it's up only. Of course, there's those huge corrections, but we see, wow, this Bitcoin bull run it's dwarfing the last run. Especially over time.
Well, it's so important to continuously view it that way too. It's like everybody wants to get in on the newest project that is going to 10x their money real fast because everyone gets rich quick. You don't have that macro outlook where you are dollar costing averaging your way into the positions that you truly believe are going to be there at the end of the year. When you are trying to get in and you're trying to 10x within 6 month time frame, or that's your goal, you're also going to then, when this market turns around, you're going to get crushed more than anybody.
Yeah.
Like Bitcoin, I think down from its all-time high is like 40-something%.
Yeah.
Where like positions like Solana and Cardano are in the high 60s, almost hitting 70%. So you understand that when these corrections, and then the smaller cap alts don't even get started.
Don't even talk about
like
it.
in the 90s, it's reaching 99% for some of these. You're just getting bullied. And that's a good realization for the long-term effect that if, okay, you're getting into crypto, especially if you're new into the space, that investing your money is important in the right project.
Right.
And, you know, you don't have to do our investment strategy on, you know, whether it's, you know, we believe highly in decentralization above all. That's why we're not in projects like Solana. Talking trash about you, Solana. Ain't about it.
Ain't about it.
But, you know, at the end of like 2030, for example, Kathy Wood, if you're not familiar with that, we've talked about her previously.
With ARK Invest?
Yeah, with ARK Invest. She is a ARK Invest owner of a management company, asset management company, basically highly invested in the crypto space. Came out with her own prediction, but it's a macro bull prediction for 2030. She is saying that Bitcoin should be at about $1 million per Bitcoin. And then on top of that, Ether should be at $180,000. So when we're talking about the two biggest crypto currencies in the space, the king of crypto currently, Bitcoin, and then you got the prince of crypto, Ether, you can't go wrong. And everything else is speculation, in our opinion. I know we love Polkadot, and I know you love Polkadot a little more than me, but we're both groupies in the Kusama Polkadot ecosystem. We believe that there's going to have this huge bullish effect for that ecosystem as well, because they're also ramped up with the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine. Mm-hmm. So it's all correlated and it's all meshed together. And if you are viewing everything outside of those three, in our opinion, then you're putting yourself at a lot more risk at the end of the day. And that's the game you play. We play that game too, though.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're still, like we were talking about before we got on today, we're still in a lot of altcoin positions, NFT positions, and, you know, because of like certain aspects with what we were talking about, the avoiding liquidation, I've had to sell some of my altcoins, which for me sucks right now, because if we look at how much those altcoins, what their price is versus ETH or versus Bitcoin, they're down near these all-time lows, right? Because they've gone down 90%, like we were just talking about. But, you know, sometimes you got to sell for whatever reason. You got to just protect an asset, or you got to sell, say, you know, I'm going to take these profits. But that's why, you know, we also talk about not investing more than you're willing to lose, mm-hmm. or not investing money that you need in a month, you know?
Yeah.
Because you never know if in a month's time that's going to go down. I remember I had a friend who has been talking about investing into crypto for 6 months or more, maybe a year. And I remember him asking me, it was like, you know, September or October, one of those months. And he was asking, you know, oh, hey, like, what do you think? Is it a safe investment to like put this money at the beginning of the month and I can float this credit line? And what do you think, like 2x by the end of the month? He's like, you know, but I need that money by the end of the month to like repay my credit line. No, that's not a good idea. Do I think you'll probably make money? Yes. But then look what happened. Terrible months, pretty much like September on, right? Yeah. I mean, I think there might have been some bullishness in there, getting back to the all-time highs. But overall, like, it just was not good and really unpredictable.
Yeah. And mind you, like, when we sold our house and went all in on crypto back in 2017, we saw our initial investment drop by like 66% in a matter of 2 months.
After going up initially.
Yeah.
But then we thought, it's going up. It's going to continue to go up
to the moon.
Not coming down.
But here's the thing, is with that, we sold our house, went all in on crypto with the mindset of this is a long-term investment. This is 5+ years. And as time moved along, we only invested more into the crypto space, and knowing that this is something that we are going to sustain for probably ever, if we're being truthful with one another. Yes, there's going to be positions that we get out of and get back in on maybe alts or different smart contract platforms. But, you know, for me personally, I'm holding the Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in my portfolio forever. And then Ether is also strong, you know, in that same realm, in my opinion, as Bitcoin. And then, of course, Polkadot's making its way. It's only, you know, it's still in its infant stage, but I'm a huge Polkadot component. So you're always going to hear me talk about those three. And I know you feel the same way. Yours might be in a different way.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's just risk tolerance.
Yeah.
Also, how much you actually like a project, different things you might like about it, or just overall bullishness for whatever reason.
And before you go, you just talked about like your risk tolerance, but also how much you like about a project. For everybody to understand, is the reason why we love those three projects above all else is because for me personally, I view decentralization as the highest value when I look into an asset. If you have decentralization, I believe in that for the future, for the world to be more, to benefit the world, I should say, but also I trust decentralization over everything else.
Right.
I don't trust anybody else to control an ecosystem like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then when we're talking about centralized projects, we're talking about Solana, we're talking about Binance Smart Chain.
They have 19 nodes. Binance Smart Chain has 19 nodes. Okay?
Solana shut down purposely. The devs just shut down the blockchain for 48 hours because there was some exploit or something. They had to protect the blockchain. So they just shut down the blockchain. Ethereum, no one has the power to just shut down Ethereum. No one person. No one could do it. It would have to be like
you could have a 51% attack, but that just doesn't mean that the network's shutting down. Everything's still going to be working. It's just
right.
You can attack the network that way, but that's almost nearly impossible now with how many nodes are out there in the world.
Same with
and
Bitcoin.
How much, and especially if you go to proof of stake, it's just going to be next to impossible. And Bitcoin, it's as you can tell, like the code, it's had over 10 years of just running through code and having these opportunities for people to do that. There's never been a double spend. People have quote unquote said, "Oh, it happened," but then it turns out it never happened. It's just like these are proven track records. But when you talk about like Solana or XRP, all these like XRP. Crazy centralized projects, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, do you really own the NFTs that are on that space? And I hear you brought this up to me the other day, and it made perfect sense. Like other influencers or people out there that are talking about Solana and hyping Solana up, they're like, oh yeah, we're making profits on the NFT platform. But then on the other flip side of it, they're like, we gotta, come together and fight Meta, the Facebook of the Metaverse. We can't let that centralization happen. And then you're like, what the?
And I was pose this question to you, like, who in their right mind would trust Meta with their Bored Ape? This thing that's what $250,000-$400,000, and putting that into a centralized server, like. Think about all the people on Twitter that are getting banned for speaking out and saying, they're speaking their mind, and then Twitter just bans them, removes their account, deletes everything. Imagine your Bored Ape is in that account and just gone. So that's what these centralized entities have the power to do, and not saying that it is going to happen or that happened anything.
Yeah. Not to say Solana would do that.
Possible.
But guess what? They shut down the network. To think that they don't have that capability to do that, and you're like, well, it wouldn't happen. Come on. Like,
piss off the right people. Speak out a little too much. Maybe it happened.
But in regards to the decentralization factor, with that's why Ethereum is the hub for NFTs, for the metaverse. That's why if you want to go check out the Ethereum Alliance, see how many companies are built for the longevity of Ethereum to be sustainable. Like it speaks for itself in that regard. But yeah, we're talking, shit about Solana here because it's so centralized to a point that you might as well let a company like Walmart you can go to their platform and buy NFTs and then trade amongst that, or Facebook or Amazon.
Right.
For that matter, and just let Amazon control your account and you have your NFTs there. What's the difference then?
And same with Coinbase. Coinbase is coming out with an NFT marketplace. I don't know if it's going to be decentralized or not. We do have Coinbase Wallet, which is decentralized, in that if you lose your private keys, Coinbase can't get your money for you. So I don't know that they have the power to shut down your wallet, but that's Coinbase Wallet. I don't know if Coinbase NFT Marketplace is going to be that way, but either way, I'm not putting my stuff in a centralized location, and I don't necessarily trust Coinbase, even though They're probably the one that I would trust the most out of all.
Yeah, I think that it's a good thing to at least talk about, in the sense that there's centralization that's good in some aspects. For some parts of the market, does everything need to be decentralized? In my opinion, no. Like I think I'm a full boat on smart contracts, on decentralization, on payment rails like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a lot of different things, a lot of people, and I post a lot on Twitter about Bitcoin being a purpose that's different for each person, whether it's a store of value or financial freedom for a country that has a government that's a tyranny, and they're looking for a little bit of saving. So the point that I'm really trying to get at is decentralization is going to be the move that will help us into the future as a society. But there will be uses for centralized applications that are obviously built on the Ethereum network. Not everything has to be decentralized to the bone, but decentralization for the platforms, for things that hold extreme value for you, for the asset itself, the asset class, is important for you to have true ownership of that.
Yep. Absolutely. And so now we touched briefly on some of these NFTs. And that, I want to talk about that. NFT. Look at it. Have you seen the NFT markets?
Are you asking me or them? Because
have you guys seen the NFT markets right now?
I've seen them.
Starting to simmer. And not just simmer, we're getting some boiling water splashing over the edges of the pot.
What a better time also. If you've already built your base, if you've gotten yourself into some Bitcoin, Ether and stuff, and you want to dabble in NFT space.
Not, just go in, baby. Just kidding.
Stop, dude. That is not what you want to do. Gosh, okay. Ryan's over here just hyping you up to get into the NFT space. Look, you want to dabble into it. Here's the thing. We'll have a whole video on it, but people are out there to whitelist and flip. Do not get in there and think that your project's gonna moon. Everyone has that bias. That project could easily just dump, and that's that. And you're just in there. If you love the community and you love the NFT as the art, because that's a representation of the community itself, is truly what it is. And then maybe they have some things in a roadmap, but everyone's roadmap looks very oddly similar a lot of the times.
Yeah.
So if you're there to make money, then guess what? Get whitelisted, get the mint price, sell before reveal. That's just my recommendation on making money in the NFT space. And you got to do work right now to get whitelisted for projects. You got to have some alpha or someone to know, pay a little money, maybe. Who knows in that regard what needs to happen. But also, if you're in the NFT space and you want to jump into it and you love the art and you want to be part of a community, yes, it's a position that you can make a lot of money. But also, when there's people making a lot of money, eventually a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money too.
Yep. And speaking of that, it's like you gotta have a plan. What's your strategy when you're buying NFTs? And it's like, Shane,
if you don't have a plan, you're going to be the one losing money.
Exactly. And part of that is because if you're his is buy the NFT, flip it before the reveal. So a lot of times these you don't know what JPEG you got before the reveal, you just sell before, because sometimes they dump right on reveal. But a strong project might continue to go up. Yeah. But it's like, where
and I lose out on that profit if I sell before reveal, obviously. But that's my personal strategy.
Right.
And everyone has their difference.
Absolutely.
And you go ahead with yours.
Yeah. And when, it just depends on the project too. Like for a certain project, you might say, I really like this project and I want to take some profits before reveal. So maybe you buy 2 or 3 of the NFT, a little more risk because you're putting in more money if the project just tanks. You just lost 2 or 3 times as much money. But let's say you really like it. You buy 2 or 3 NFTs, let's say 3. So then before reveal, the price pumped a little bit, you can sell. And maybe you've almost paid for your all 3 NFTs with just 1. And then now the price, dumps on reveal, but you hold, still have 2. Price continues to go up. Where are you planning to sell? You say, I think this is going to go to 1 ETH. Maybe you look at some other projects and you say, okay, this is what this one's pumped to. I think we can go here. So maybe you have in your mind 1 ETH and then 2, and I'm going to sell my second one at 1 ETH, my last one at 2 ETH, and then I'm out. That could be your strategy. Or it's, I'm going to sell at 1 ETH and I'm just going to hold that third one because I think long term this project's going to turn into a blue chip project, whatever it is. But you got to have that strategy, because if you don't, what's going to happen? Might get caught holding the bag especially when the NFT market hits its peak and it comes down. It's not like getting out of altcoin.
Well, then and hit on that is it will hit a peak. It will hit a point where, and if the NFT market as a whole doesn't, projects will, left and right. There's going to be projects that make it, of course, and there's going to be projects that just don't. And they don't deliver on their roadmap, because that's all roadmap is. It's a new way to have a white paper to say, hey, these are the things we're doing. And if it doesn't happen, then and they don't deliver, that project's going to die. And also on top of that, you think about, okay, a lot of these roadmaps are for the next 6 months. Okay, what's version 2? What value are you bringing to the community? How, outside of just always delivering whitelist spots to the community, what else are we delivering here? Are we delivering a game? Are we delivering utility? What's a use case for this into the metaverse or real life application? There's so many different things that it can bring, but can it deliver? Because if it doesn't, that NFT down the toilet hole.
Yep, down. And as maybe these NFTs are plummeting, when NFT season ends and you decide, oh, you know what? I'm going to cut some losses, or like I could have taken these huge profits and now it's down a lot, but I'm going to get out. What if you can't get out because there's not liquidity? So there has to be, for NFTs, there has to be a buyer that wants to buy your NFT at that price that you're willing to sell it at. And if there's not, you can't just sell it. With altcoins, there's liquidity provided, like within Uniswap or wherever, and you can just sell your altcoin for the going price. With NFTs, if the price is coming down rapidly, you might list it, lower the price, lower the price.
It's a free for all.
Everyone undercutting each other.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember too. It's like we were talking about this the other day. Is there's projects out there that are just becoming whales of like where whales are accumulating a certain project. Well, if so many whales accumulate that project and no one else wants to get in, they're just gonna be holding a bunch of something that they just value. And if no one else values it and everyone's just jumping to the next thing, because here's the thing, is like why Bitcoin and Ether are such vital parts to become a base is because guess what? Bitcoin has always had something as a Bitcoin killer. It's past that. It's going to be around to the future. Ether has its Ethereum killers, but our belief is it's going to be there for the long term. And those projects are now sustained and everything's being built on top of that. You got to get into NFT projects that everyone else wants to become a part of. Because if no one wants to become a part of it, at the end, it's just going to die.
Mm-hmm.
A slow death. And find the projects that, okay, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, of course, like who can dive into that, obviously, right? But projects that you can get into now that are going to evolve and make people want to be a part of that community on a continuous basis. And that's where you have to take a deep dive. If you're just jumping in and aping into a project and you're not really investigating these, you just like the art, then expect that, hey, this, there's a chance you're going to lose money or you're going to be the one stuck holding the bag at the end of the day. You got to be smart in the NFT space because there's a lot of smart individuals that are just out there to make quick money.
Yep. And there's a lot of big communities within Discord who aren't just in the Discord groups. They're in their own Discord group. They're not in the actual NFT community Discord, or they're in those too.
Those
but
alpha groups. Watch out for them.
And it's like everyone's sharing alpha. Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is like the project we want to buy. We're going to try to get as many of these possible. Like, here's the floor that I'm going to sell it at. Lots of coordinated things within groups, which isn't a bad thing, but it's happening.
Well, it's not a bad thing for them, but
right.
it could severely hurt you as an investor into that project,
right?
Because you're not in the know. But it's so without hitting because we love the NFT space. Obviously, we're in it, so I don't want to have such a negative feel for the space, but It's just also you got to be awareness
for sure.
And understand that when you're investing in these projects, like what is your goal? Like coming back full circle is like, are you in it for the long term? Do you want to help build that community and make that community successful? Because if you don't, you're just there to flip. then guess what? Don't hold just expecting it to go up and you're not doing anything. If you're not benefiting the community, then you're not helping that price rise. You're just in it just to wait for it and to see what happens. Then at the end of the day, you're going to be unsuccessful, in my opinion, in that. You might get lucky on certain projects, but you have to either be in the community helping build it, or doing your research, getting in the whitelist spots, and then once you get the project, being like, okay, this is where I will flip, or this is when I will sell, if you're not going to hold it long term. Because all of a sudden, if you don't have that price point and you're going to be like, hey, I'm not going to sell here, you're going to continuously just hold that to the moon, and then there's a time where it's going to fall back down to earth. So to give you an example, it's like, I'm in Journey for the long term. That's a project for my personal feel, is that I'm going to stay and I'm going to give content to you on that experience, on a weekly basis, but also that way you can kind of see that how it evolves over time. But being an Epic Voyager, for me personally, and I don't know how you're going to play it, if I haven't made a full decision, if Journey ever got to 15 or 20 ETH, you better believe one of those journeys are getting out of my wallet. Even possibly 10. I haven't made a full, but within the next 2 days, guarantee I'll have a price. I'm like, hey, if it gets over this price, one of those journeys, and I'll become a rare Voyager. Because you gotta have a limit on when you're taking, whether it's profit or everyone has a number. Have a number for yourself. If you only have one Voyager, or if you only have one in the project and you want to be in there for the long term and you love that community, stay in it. Keep that NFT if that NFT is going to become valuable for you. But everyone has to have options with it. So, and that kind of brings me to the question for you, for Journey wise, where are you sitting at with your 5?
Yeah, similar thing. Probably around that 12 to 20 ETH is where I'm looking like I would start to consider.
And we got to eventually, like me and you, this doesn't go outside of that, is like we have to pick a solid number, because when you don't do that, you all of a sudden it gets to 12 and you're like, okay, hey, this is going up. Like I'm going to wait, and it gets to 15.
You could also have a range, kind of depending how fast something gets somewhere. If it just blew up to 12 tomorrow, I'd be like, I'm selling, because it's probably going to correct. That would be my sentiment. If it has a slow grind up to 12, I probably wouldn't sell. It would probably be more like, okay, when it gets to 15, 16, but yeah, for sure, great to have that like hard number, or at least like a hard range. Okay, like the earliest I'll sell is this, and I will definitely sell by this number.
So I respectfully disagree. We've had these conversations before about it, but just because just for myself personally, like I think everyone has a different, like how they are as a person with selling. And if I don't set a hard line, I'm always like, okay, hey, I'm going to keep kicking that can down the road because, hey, this project's going to keep going and keep going. Well, then eventually it's not.
Right.
It's going to come back down to earth, or it stays maybe it does stay at that point. But especially when we're talking about, the only thing we have comparison with the NFT space right now is off of altcoins.
Right,
and,
right.
It's not a great correlation to go with, because we don't know what's going to happen with the NFT space long term. But to think that it's just going to continue mooning is not a great knowledgeable decision to make.
Right.
So for me personally, how I am as a person, I need to set myself a hard line, because if I don't, I'm just going to keep kicking that can down the road.
Yep.
So personally, I'm like, okay, eventually over these next 2 days, maybe I'd say 15 ETH. If it gets to that point, I will sell. If it doesn't, I am going to be in this project. Long term, regardless, I'm not going to sell probably less than 3. I'm going to stay a rare Voyager, be in this project. But if that profit gets that high, I just can't see myself keeping a mint pass where I can then use that as an asset for other things.
Yep.
And that's just my personal feel on it.
And great points with, I'm just going to set the hard line. But what if some bullish news comes out that there's now a partnership with Neo Tokyo and Epic Voyagers? Part of their mint is, you hold it until, 6 months down the line, you have that Epic Voyager roll, you're going to get an NFT mint or NFT drop that is a partnership with Neo Tokyo.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm gonna have, because I believe in those partnerships. I think what the NFT space is going to become is the blue chips, and I put Journey in that class, like with Neo Tokyo or Bored Ape Yacht Club, even, and CyberKongs and all these different projects. Those communities are going to set the standard for everyone else, and then new NFT and communities are going to want to create relations with them. So that should be your goal too, is not just to do those small chips. If you can save up and get into one of the big ones, because down the line, especially 5 years from now, you're a new NFT or you're a new community, guess who you're going to want to partner with? The big boys.
The big boys.
Every time.
All these projects coming in, who are they giving whitelist spots to?
The big boys.
Big boys.
So that's where you want to find yourself, is in those groups, and whether it's saving up to get there or doing what I'm doing. You're going to be able to follow live on that train wreck to see if I can get into a different blue chip off of some of the NFTs and whitelist spots I'm getting, and we'll figure that out real quick. But if, say, you have CyberKong and you have that ability in that community to get other whitelist spots, or like, for instance, Crypto Bats did I believe a whitelist spot with them, but also there's interaction with the Crypto Bat and the CyberKong with other things, also Bored Ape Yacht Club, if it bites it, and all this stuff. And it's basically connecting those communities together, but everybody wants that with the OGs and the blue chips. So that's where you want to find yourself getting into, not just only the small communities where, sad to say, but not every community is going to make it. It's just not going to happen. So,
yep. Not everybody can make it, even though one of the sentiments is wag me, we all gonna make it. Not the case.
I feel like that wag me is just for the people that are in the community, and once they all make it, they're out, and the new people come in are screwed.
Like, sorry, y'all not gonna make it. But you guys can make it if you focus, you pay attention, you're smart, and you follow some of these strategies and some of your own strategies and some other strategies you learn elsewhere. But so we're talking about the NFT market, NFT season. Then we're talking about eventually that liquidity flows out, right? Some of the money, the people leave the NFT space, they take their profits. Where do they put them?
Okay. Before we get into where they're putting them, I do want to hit on this, is that if you feel like you got FOMO for NFTs for whatever reason, understand this. There is something new almost every year.
Every month, every week.
Remember alt season back in 2017?
What?
Or the new smart contracts that came in?
Different alt seasons.
Like in 2018, 2019, like Cardano, and like, not a fan, but still just talk. When Polkadot officially came out, you got other smart contract platforms. You could have made a killing off of those. When DeFi came around,
yep,
and all the different like applications DeFi and decentralized finance could create, and then the NFT space, and now the Metaverse, there's always going to be something new that's going to be out that you can get into, that's going to create a little bit of an opportunity for yourself. So realize that FOMO is the biggest and easiest way to lose money. We're going to continuously say that. That's the fear of missing out. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know what FOMO is, but basically understand that there is always going to be a new thing that allows you to get into the next movement. But you just got to be able to find out what that is. And hopefully we can deliver that on this channel, giving you some content that's like, hey, here's some nice risky plays. And when we say risky, there's opportunity that it just doesn't work out. It just shits the bed. But basically, giving you an opportunity to get in early on projects is a better way to go about investing money outside of building your base, of course, my opinion. But let's go ahead, sorry to interrupt you. You were going into what are we going liquid into off of NFTs?
So I
better hear the right answer.
As I take profits on NFTs, I've got places I'm going to put that money. I'm going to put a percentage of it, probably.
You're going to put an ohm in Klima? Or Klima is a way to pronounce it?
That's Klima.
Yeah, it's Klima.
I didn't know that.
Their creator. I was listening to a call. They just kept calling it Klima.
He's got an accent. He's saying it wrong. Klima.
I was like, I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
So yeah, to that point, what he's pointing out, I was taking profits out of some of these altcoins.
The answer is hell to the no.
I'm making profits on these altcoins, and then I'm, putting all of it into other altcoins, and they performed probably the worst out of anything over this past month.
I'm still bullish on it, but those two projects are just. Whew,
and we're talking Olympus DAO and Klima DAO.
Yeah.
And
the rebase tokens. Rebase was a hot topic button. And that's just a good point also just off of our investment mistakes is also jumping into things that are a hot topic in that moment. Doesn't mean like just going right back to where we were talking about the FOMO. It wasn't like FOMO yet for us when we got in, but we just didn't take profits when we could have at that time. And everybody else was, especially the people that invested super early and the big money took it out hard and it hit everyone else hard. That's a project that's seen more than a 99% correction.
Right.
Over the last 3 months. Just getting destroyed out here.
The big lesson for me, time and time again, I've learned the lesson a few times, but I feel like really sticking this time. Instead of taking profits when I was in the green and the price was going up, you know what I did? I bought more. Bad FOMO move. You don't buy more
on the way up.
On the way up.
You buy like, more if you believe in the project on the way down.
Yeah, and which I did that too. So it's just
only if it's Bitcoin and Ether, dollar cost average
all day, baby. So yeah, but now as I take profits on these NFTs, I think I'm gonna go a third. Okay. So let's say I make 3 ETH on an NFT. A third of that is just gonna go right into ETH. A third of that. And I'll say that first third is either going to go right into ETH or Bitcoin. Going to buy either ETH or Bitcoin with the 1/3. Another third is going to go into stablecoin. That's when I take some profits.
What's your favorite stablecoin?
I like DAI.
Me too.
Yep, DAI. And it's an
USDC is also
a good one USDC good. But DAI,
not Tether. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Don't USDT.
If you hold Tether, you might as well just say I might lose this one day randomly.
And not to be confused with UST, which is US Terra Luna stablecoin,
which is
slightly
a great
centralized project, slightly centralized.
Yeah, but still better option than Tether.
Yep,
put that out there.
Terra Luna, you can get 20% APR on your stablecoin easy. You just stake it on the Terra Luna platform. Anyway,
stop giving them a plug and let's go.
It's just awesome. 20%.
All right, third into Bitcoin or Ether, third into stablecoin.
Yep, and then a third into an altcoin of my choosing, whatever I'm thinking is ready to pump.
That could dump as well.
Yeah.
But you only lost a third of it.
Exactly. Instead of 100%, which is something I had done in the past. We learned from that mistake. Not doing it. Neither are you.
Remember, none of this is financial advice. You get to make your own decisions here. You just hear that's his way that based off of mistakes or things that he's done in the past. He's deciding, hey, a third here, third here, third here. Hey, maybe you decide half and half. Whatever your decision is. But at least if you have a plan in place, you know what you're going to do moving forward instead of, oh, shit. I just bought this NFT for 0.08 and I just sold it for 4 ETH.
Yep.
What are you going to do now? You're going to just, ape back into some other NFTs? Are you not going to take profit with that and keep it in a different set? Like, how are you playing this? And not saying that one decision's one plan is better than another, but having a plan instead of just all of a sudden coming across 4 ETH and you're like, you take my money. It's
absolutely. And now, since we're talking about altcoin and potentially filtering some of those profits from the NFTs into some altcoin, let's go top 2 altcoin.
Okay, before we do that, here, if you're gonna go into altcoins, also recommend, because this is something that's been such a savvy way to look at altcoins, is when you go into an altcoin, you're not there for the long term. Okay. You're not there,
facts.
You're there for a good time, not a long time. And basically look at the price in comparison, especially if it's an ERC20 token on the Ethereum network. Look at its price in comparison to ETH at that moment that you got in. If the price of ETH in correlation to that project, basically if you are moving in a positive direction against ETH, that's when you know it's a great time to sell. And
if the chart looks like this, do not buy it. If it looks like that, where it's just up and up and up,
especially against ETH, then you're taking your ETH into a project that's just going to get shellacked eventually. So just my 2 cents on that. I know you were saying 2 alts that I love or whatnot. I just wanted to point out that if I'm going into an alt, to know what is the price against ETH, not USD. Don't look at the USD. Stop looking at that. That's not going to give you the most profit at the end of the day when you're pricing your alts against ETH or against USD.
What are you doing with your USD? You're going to buy a cryptocurrency. And you might buy Bitcoin, you might buy ETH, or you might buy an altcoin or an NFT.
Unless you're selling that alt to USD and you're going to put it in your bank, but yeah, that's your decision. But if you're in this crypto space the long haul and you're going to be going back and forth between ETH and the alts, you look at the price against ETH, or at the very least against Bitcoin. However you're going to look at it, because at the end of the day, it's not about the US dollar in comparison to these. It's about how they're performing against ETH and Bitcoin.
Yep, absolutely.
So my top two.
Yeah, and let's go one mid to high cap and one low cap. And if you're wondering what low cap, high cap means, we're talking about market cap. And that's really the way you want to compare cryptocurrencies. We're not talking about price. If you look at Cardano, it's what, $1. Ethereum's $2,300. Someone looks at that like, oh, Cardano's way cheaper. I'm going to buy Cardano because it could go up so much higher. No, you have to look at market cap when we're comparing cryptocurrencies. And we won't get into why. We'll talk about that in another video, but just trust that that's how you compare crypto based on market.
Yeah, 100%. And if we're going to put pressure on me, you just asking questions. Wow.
I'm unprepared. I work well under pressure, Some people don't.
He's just throwing shade. Okay, so my top two, if we're saying, are we going like, are these long-term plays, or this for 2022 and we're taking profit at some point? How are we rolling with this?
We're talking exactly the strategy we told everyone is we're going to take some profits on the way up because we don't want to hold altcoins over the long term.
Okay, here's the thing. If you're going to put me in a position where I'm going to try to take profit on all, because I believe that this market is going to have a bull trend at this point in this year, so alts are going to be successful. Yes, I'm a little biased in this because I'm also hoping that these two projects,
well, of course,
are gonna.
That's what the crypto space is about, is showing your project.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna group these two together, of course, because they're rebase tokens. We just talked about how much they got shit on. Was Ohm and Klima. Okay, both of those getting in. You can stake it. You can get rewards off of it. Their rewards. Ohm is gonna be coming down to like 1,000 APY.
And this is your mid cap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ohm is gonna come down to 1,000 APY, which should bring in more money into their platform. They're going to continuously load up their treasury. Right now, their price is sitting above what their value should be at, basically. And that is only a bullish signal that it didn't go below that, for me personally. So you can get more Ohm into it if you're staking it. Klima, the same way. They're basically all about the climate change and doing a carbon bond market through decentralization. Both the ideas are awesome. How it's going to be successful, no one knows long term. But in the short term, these prices are so cheap in comparison how everything else dumped. At least if you want a chance to have an explosion of a price movement, these are two projects that have that capability because of how hard they've been hit. And then, this is the only reason I'm also recommending that is because it's happened to Ohm before. Ohm started back in May. When that May dip happened, it went from $14 to below $200 per Ohm. And then it made its way back up above $1,400 6 months later. So on top of you getting your staking rewards, I'm just banking on that happening again and getting myself out. Recommend you doing the same. Also, if we're going to put on a outside of, maybe I think they're outside of the top 500 even on this one as my last one, is VEMP. I just had a Metaverse talk about this. It was like a little bonus clip at the end. Empire, VEMP tokens. If you stake Mana, Starlink, even ETH on their platform, they give you VEMP. If you just want to also go to Uniswap and transfer some funds into VEMP, that is a token that has their hands in a cookie jar all over the Metaverse. So if the Metaverse continues launching up in a rocket ship kind of way, that platform is going to see extreme gains, okay? They were up I think they got up to 60 cents. They're currently 9 cents. They basically are all over the place in the NFT space, buying NFTs up in their portfolio, flipping them, giving rewards back to the community. Great idea of a project. How successful will it be long term? I don't know, but they are all over the place owning land in every facet of the Metaverse. Go over and check out the video if you want to learn a little bit more about it. All right, that's enough of me ranting. What's your top two?
Yeah. So I also love that project. Zemp, amazing project. So many cool things. You can stake your ETH on there. I think you mentioned that. And that was actually going to be my small cap. So, instead of just
he's got pressure now. Let's see
instead
what
of
he's
just
going with.
repeating, like I told you guys, I work well under pressure. I'm going to give you guys one of my favorite projects that I've invested in. I'm going to probably go in a little bit more on this now. It's a gaming project called Cypher. And now, I'm going to be honest. I don't know a ton about gaming. I've never been much of a gamer. But I do believe that gaming is going to explode, and it might even be one of those segments of the market that moves all on its own, even as crypto starts to come into a bull or a bear market. I do believe gaming is going to have a lot of success. We saw Axie Infinity, this play-to-earn model, really just explode, and I haven't played the game, but looks like a crappy little game.
Gaming might be the next frontier.
So, just a part of the metaverse, way, NFTs. We got Cypher. Really cool project. I will
How
say.
do you spell that,
Yeah. SIPHER.
You can spell Cypher so many different ways.
It could be SY, but I think it's SI.
Okay. I was just putting more pressure on you to
Yeah.
get the correct content.
Yeah, you want to make sure definitely looking at the right coins. So,
always use CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap when you're going to any project, because they'll have the links on their page, so you know that it is not fake and you're not linking your MetaMask to a unknown wallet that's just trying to steal your tokens.
We don't want that. So, yeah, Cypher, amazing pick. I do believe it's
that's your small cap pick?
Yep, under 50 mil. It was around 50 mil when I bought it before this market. So I'm guessing it's probably 25 mil now.
Okay.
Something like that.
What's about your mid cap?
Mid cap, mid to large. We're going to go large on this one.
Oh, you're playing it safe. Wow.
It's just too
How
juicy.
safe are you going?
If
you say
know.
Chainlink?
No. Everyone already knows. It's Polkadot, baby.
Wow, he's even going that big of a cap.
Big. There's just nothing I'm more confident in. I already sold all my Chainlink.
You sold all your Chainlink?
Yeah, I sold it all. I had to. I had to protect the ETH, baby. So, if we want a mid cap, I'll throw a mid cap out there too. We got Engine.
Okay.
Engine. Gaming platform.
Dude, you're going with a smart contract platform that we've been shilling and talk about this entire time.
Baby. Gotta let them know. And now, cool little connection here. So
you got my Ohm and Klima picks versus Polkadot. Like, that's fair.
We're gonna dominate. Domination. Now, quick little tidbit here. We got Engine. I mentioned Polkadot and Engine. The connection between Polkadot, Engine, and another bonus coin.
No, I don't know the connection, Ryan. Tell me, please.
Efinity.
Okay. I've heard of.
Efinity. Yes. So, Engine on Polkadot is called Efinity. So, there's a new token, new coin that's going to be coming out. I don't believe it's out. Actually, no, it is out already. I haven't bought any yet. But you'll be able to stake your Engine and earn Efinity tokens over on the Polkadot network, as well as your Engine rewards on the Engine Ethereum network. And huge project is Engine. Also, having scooped any of this, just extra alpha coming at you. We got Engine Starter just dropped. So you guys might know about DEFI or some of these other token starter platforms where you can be a seed investor into a new project coming out, new gaming project. Well, Engine dropped their own token called Engine Starter, and it's a platform where people, random, average people like you and me, can get minimums like 2K. You can invest into a project in its seed round where it's gaining investor money to come out. So huge stuff coming out of them, I believe, over the next year.
So I'm going to bring everyone back to reality and bring you back from that chaos of alt talk.
Madness,
and just
baby.
Remind you that if we want some real alpha, the alpha comes down to building your base, Bitcoin and Ether. You have those. The more you have, the better off you'll be. You want to add Polkadot into that base. We applaud you for that decision. I will back that, but all other alts are just fun plays to get back into your base. Remember that, because at the end of the day, the main thing is build financial freedom through the biggest projects, this space, and the biggest assets that the world has ever seen is those three, in our opinion. Getting the most you can get into those projects, bar none. is the best decision you're going to make at the end of the day. Okay? All these alts, get in, get out, get back into your base, build wealth over time, can, rinse and repeat. It's that. Did we make it seem that easy?
Simple.
Simple. And you can watch us on these exact moves throughout the year when we drop videos in between these podcasts. So that way you can see if our strategies are working or if it's a complete train wreck.
Absolutely. And, I think as our channel is still growing, we'll be able to even share with you guys maybe when we're selling some of these things, because we don't have that huge YouTuber effect just yet. Like Elio Trade, some of these bigger guys, they can't really shout out when they're selling because, they're going to have a poor effect on the market. But little secrets early on here before the channel grows, let you guys know when
build
we are
out a
selling.
Discord and give you real hints. Build that out for group out. Okay, we got a Discord in that's already built out. We'll start sending invites out. We'll put them in the links, and then that way the first 100 get a nice OG tag. That way you get a little alpha content in there, but also who knows what happened with that Discord. It's just for everybody to chit and chat, project they're into.
Share some alpha.
And then you do your own research, of course, off of each other's information. We just share, it's not like you're getting anything from the Discord currently. Who knows what's going to happen with that community or what's down the pipeline? Only time will tell, but it's not dropping hints. Okay, guys, don't get ahead of yourself for you viewers that come across this channel. But we'll hope you enjoyed today's content.
Yep.
I know I did, talking about crypto like always. We'll continue dropping these. Ryan will be gone in Mexico for a whole month. So you won't hear a thing from him. Surprise, surprise. Like much has changed. But the podcast is we're going to try to get some guest speakers on. That way we got somebody sitting in the seat with me for the podcast. And then also, reminder, dropping weekly different content. If you do enjoy certain videos, give that video a thumbs up. Let us know the content that you like so we can keep dropping that content for you. And do you have anything to say before we end this show?
Trust you guys enjoyed the content on today's episode. I won't be here next week, but I know Shane has in the plans to talk about what sort of cycle to expect, whether it's going to be a 4-year cycle or an extended cycle. So if you want to learn what our beliefs are, definitely tune into that one.
For sure.
And it's going to be a great episode, I'm sure. I trust it will be. And again, I'll be in Mexico for a month doing a bunch of breath work. I'm a breathwork practitioner, so learning from one of the OGs, talking about OGs, out there in Mexico. So definitely going to be unplugging a little bit in the cryptoverse, staying just plugged in enough while I'm there to make sure, get some of these juicy gains. But other than that, I'll be coming back by March.
And also, if this video sometimes, especially podcasts or the longer versions of our talks, throw a little 2x on that speed.
Oh yeah. Get it
drive through this. Basically, you'll still be able to understand exactly what we're talking about because we're talking really fast. That part might be too fast for you. But basically, understand that we are here for the long time, not just the good times.
Both. Good times, long time.
Yeah. But we're always going to be here dropping content. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace, everybody.